Okay, so let me share my screen and we'll begin working on the digital imaging to part of the project that is today's agenda. We'll review the slideshow. I'm expecting that you'll be putting a screenshot of where you're at in Animate on the slideshow. So, but I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Let's go to the calendar. And today is the start of February. And so we are at February 1. You folks are in digital imaging too. It's the purple color for me. And there's our agenda. I'd like to review where you're at with your process. So if you could open up your Animate files for me, that would be fantastic. And then if you could take a screenshot of your Animate file. I'd like to see it with the layers on. So if you have layers that are in a folder that you're working on, for instance, if you have head on one layer and eyes on another layer, torso on another layer, I want to see those layers and see that you are working in layers. And if you're not, that's one of the things that we're going to check today is that you're working in layers. Can you all hear me? I haven't heard a, are we all good? Thumbs up. Okay, thanks. Okay. So then you're going to place the screenshot of that file in your slides, just kind of after your other process work. And if you have any questions, could you leave a question on the comment in the slide? And I will try to, welcome in, Elliot. So if you have a question, like a technical question, is kind of where we're at right now, kind of dealing with technical concerns, leave the comment there. We'll try to cover it in class, but I might also have a specific demo that I've already made for that. So leave a comment. We will also go over anything that everybody needs today in class. So we're going to review your process as a whole. We're just going to check over those slides, answer questions, and then you're going to have time to work on your line and your color in Animate today. So that's our agenda for today. Any questions from anyone? Okay, awesome. On the calendar, we also had this element, and I believe that a lot of you have already done this, so just checking to see, but import color. So we had done the color scheme with Adobe Color at adobe.color.com, I think is the URL. And that color scheme needs to be imported into Animate. So if you haven't done that yet, I'm going to check to see that. And it's just a check to see, have you done that yet? If you need help with that, I'm going to be helping you in class today. If I click on this link, that will take us to really where I'm looking for you to follow this Adobe color schemes. I believe that everybody kind of has already made their color scheme like this kind of thing, but we need that imported into Animate. And this is how to add it to swatches, but there is another faster way using the Adobe color because it comes up in your properties. The other thing that I want you to make sure that you have is the Adobe dots, not Adobe, but the universal color swatch file, so that you don't go too bright in your colors like this. So it's a color scheme that's a little bit more like this. And I'm asking you to download this file and make sure that that's in there. So I'll check that for you today. All right. So let me head over to the slideshow for you to see. However, does anybody need more time to put your work on the slides to do that screenshot?
I'll need a second to add mine in.
Yeah. Some of the tools techniques you already know from working in Animate, or I'm sorry, not Animate, but Illustrator are very similar to what they are in Animate. So some of that will come into play. Some of the work that you do in Photoshop doesn't really transfer quite as well to the same kind of tooling that we have in Animate. That's because it's a vector program. You can bring in files from Photoshop. That's one thing to be aware of. I also want to let you know that I just updated my Animate, and when I put the smoothing all the way to 100, it became too smooth. So one of the things that I had mentioned before was having smoothing up to 100 with your pencil tool, and I found that I really needed to bring it down, partially because the tool that I was using was the really geometric one. Absolutely, you can't do that if you're trying to have a smooth, like kind of graceful line. Otherwise, it'll make it a circle. And that was standard right out of the box. So I usually have it set to that S curve one, and I'll talk about this when we get into Animate. But there are some preferences that if you click on them, it will make things a lot easier and not so frustrating. And I want you to know that the frustration is something that I experience when I'm working on the projects. But if you ever get frustrated, please email me and I'll try to answer. Plus, we're working in a terms of process. So if you get really kind of stuck, if I'm not able to answer your email quick enough before class starts, just come and we'll work through the issues that anybody's having together. Okay.
Lines are going where I want them to.
Yeah.
So-
Are things like snapping where you need them to go? How's the process of doing the drawing going for you?
It's working out for the most part. I have a couple issues where it doesn't do what I want it to do, but I'll adjust it and it'll figure itself out.
Your lines look super nice and clean. You are using the pencil tool.
Mhm.
Is that right? And then over in properties, which is this panel right here, this little slider one, when you click onto that, that's where you get the smoothing. Are you doing that? Is that functioning for you?
Yeah, I've adjusted that a little bit till I found one, like a setting that worked. So
Great. I also see that you have a couple different layers. So we have the art goes here, layer file or layer, and then you have woman and kid one. So are each of these characters on a different layer then?
yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. That's definitely the way to go. And then we had talked about, we had made, I think it was your heart as a symbol, and then we repeated it. Still haven't kind of implemented that, but you remember how to do that, okay?
Yeah, I was gonna wait until I finished everything else first.
Yeah. So Ava, what do you think about the way it's coming along for Elliot?
I think it looks great. I love the people that you've drawn, and I think that the line art looks really smooth, and I don't see any issues right now. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it really does look beautiful. I love being able to see that the glasses are that little extra thickness. Is that what is your line width right now, Elliot?
So for the glasses it was 4, and then for everything else it's 2. For the
Yeah.
top lids I'll do 4 as well.
Yeah, that looks great. I think yeah, so you're doing that on here. There is there's different ends to the brush. So I want to show you that. That's one thing that I want to show you. There's a brush end that has kind of a point to it. That's not the variegated one. It just is, it's either a hard square edge or a point edge. So I think that all of you might appreciate that. It will get you just a little bit of a sense of a variegated line, but it won't be the brush use. So I'll show you that today. And you can just kind of select them all and then turn them into that because it's vector. I think that might help this piece a little bit. You're at a really good place, Elliot. One thing to watch for as you work. So this fella has kind of a shape right here, right? Which will be like he's kind of going into nothing right now, which is how you want it to look eventually. But for the art, you will need to have like a shape of some kind so you can fill it. And then you can erase the line. And we can also have it go from like a darker color to nothing as that chest area goes away.
Okay.
So if you don't know how to do that, I'll show you how to do that today too.
Okay.
Does that sound like something you already know how to do or?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd
Why
like to
not?
learn that too.
Yeah, let's have you open up your file, Elliot, and share, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay. I'll stop sharing. All right. So Elliot, we're talking about how to get into get something to go from nothing to something in terms of the look. So you want to do it on that fellow there? Is that kind of where you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, so you kind of need like a line like that, but can you zoom out a little bit?
Mhm.
Okay, because I think you'll actually want it to be more like this, because I think you might want him to fade kind of slowly. Is that right? Do you want to do like a gradient?
Yeah, I
Kind of
think
thing?
so.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and make like a line like that on the same layer that the man layer is. But the main thing is that you're connecting, that you connect this point to this point to that. That's kind of what you need. So when you were working in Animate, you want to make sure that you do connect your lines if you're going to do fills, because the connection points are what allows you to not have what they call gaps. So like there's closed gaps and closed large gaps. It's hard to fill with the dumper tool, which is that paint bucket tool thing, into here if it has this little gap. If things are like closed really close together, then that will dump okay. In Animate, there's this thing that's called close large gaps. And basically you can have it almost like as big as that and it will be okay. So yeah, Elliot, go ahead and make your line.
Okay.
Wherever you need it. Good. Good. And that's the kind of gap that's okay to have.
Okay.
That's fine. It's close enough. Okay, so good. Now grab your dumper tool. If you have your keyboard out, it's G, or you're gonna go over to it's gradient. Oh, you have it right here. That's cool. And grab. So let me also just say that this color will not stop here because you don't have a line. So you might want a line there, which is probably because you want it to be different than his skin tone, probably, right?
Yeah.
So just, and if you want that to be open, what you want to do is you want to draw that with a crazy color that's not your black color, because then you're going to be able to select it differently and erase it. Okay.
Okay.
So I usually, if I know that I don't want that color to be there, I use something like bright green or something I won't ever use. And then I can go find those. Like purple or.
1 second.
Cool. I'm glad you're going over this because this is exactly the question I had too.
Good, good. Good. Okay, so it looks kind of the same color to me, but don't worry about, oh, are you on object drawing? Do you see how Elliot had that box around it, right? That's because, can you click on your pencil tool one more time over here? This is checked. Do you see how it's got kind of a highlight? Can you uncheck it? Okay, now just click on that with your V tool over there, and then click on it, and then hit Command or Control D to break apart.
Control
B. That's called break apart, and that will get rid of it. Do you see how now you have a line like it's selected? You can see all the little dots. Okay, that's pretty important. Elliot, you probably had that object drawing on a lot when you're drawing.
Yeah, I noticed it on another figure, but I'll go ahead and fix that.
So all you have to do is you'll see all those blues. You'll select it. Like if you click on one of these layers, you'll see all the blue boxes. All you have to do is hit Command or Control B multiple times until all the boxes go away.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You don't have to like redraw it at all or anything. Okay. I'm trying to make clear these. All right. So now with your fill button, get a color that you want a shirt to be, like one of those fun Benetton colors that we were playing with earlier.
I'll just do green.
Sure, let's just do green. Okay, so go ahead and dump. Okay, now Elliot's having this issue. This is very important because everybody will have this issue right away. It's not Elliot's fault at all. Do you see this thing right here? Remember how I was talking about large gaps? So this is like, it only wants to fill anything that's fully closed. And that means that you would have to be precise and perfect, and nobody is. So if you click on that and then click close large gaps, that's going to be way better. And that is typically the issue that everybody has. So make sure that you have it say close large gap. So Elliot has just filled it. Now we wanted to delete this, so go ahead and grab your V tool and get this tool up here.
Oh, I'm okay with
Oh, you're
leaving.
already on it. Click on it.
I'm actually
click
already
on-
doing that one.
Oh, it's already selected. Hit delete or
I'm actually fine
select-
keeping that one. So
I'm sorry, I was talking over you, Elliot. What did you say?
that's okay. I want to keep this line.
Oh, you do? Okay. So
Yeah.
then you're just gonna keep it. I'll clear my line. Okay, and then zoom out. Let's watch this gradient then. Okay, so now we want to do a gradient. You have gradient on your toolbox, but some of you might not. F is a shortcut for that. And if you don't have the gradient tool, you're going to click on this and it'll pop open something and it'll be somewhere in here and you'll just drag it into where you want. That's a fun scribble I just made. Okay, so now you've got that gradient tool, but there's not a gradient in your color swatch. So you're going to go over to way over here and click on that, and then where it says solid color, change it to gradient and linear radial. Radial's the round one, whatever you want to do there. And then you're going to click on this black. And by the way, everybody's going to be used to this one that says H. So click on H, that's Q. That feels more familiar to you probably, right? It's a little bit more like what you're used to in Photoshop. So you can double click on this black thing and it will pop open the colors. So pick the color that you want and then pick that color. If you want it to go to nothing, you're going to tell it to go to 0% opacity. So alpha. All right, so now you can dump. So you need the F tool, or actually that, yeah, you need the dumper tool first and then the gradient transform tool. So click. Okay, now you need gradient transform tool. So click that and click on it. And I'll show you how this works. So you're going to grab this tool and you're going to move it down. Right. And then this is the top where it's the most green. So you can pull this whole thing down more. You might have to click on that part. Yeah. Until you like what you see. Now, if you wanted to go to full transparency, you'll need to make sure that that part that's down here gets pulled up. You can pull this point up to here too. Can you zoom out a second? Okay, now do the gradient transform tool F. And what I would try to do, Elliot, is get those two lines very close, like right here, essentially. And to do that, you have to grab that, yep, grab this and pull it up. And then take this part and make it so it's even, right? And basically you're looking for clearness on the bottom. So I think you're going to try to get rid of this line that's here eventually, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would actually delete that line first so you can see how that edge is dealing with itself. See? And you might want the radial gradient because the straight one is kind of not really flowing with this bib area. So to do that, you click on the palette again and change linear to radial. Yep. And now you just move that up. The radial gradient has a little bit more tools. If you take this point, you can move the center of the gradient around. These three things do different things. This makes it bigger. This is the rotating one. So they all do different things and you'll experience it once you see it. That's pretty cool. That's kind of what I was thinking you would do. If you don't want it to be, you want it to be dark here and here, you would take this point and you move it up to here. See? And it kind of comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be sweet. Yeah, click off. Let's see what we did. And I'll remove my scribbles. Nice. Right?
Mhm.
Okay, so I think that will be helpful to a lot of you also as we move forward. Okay, Elliot, do you have any other questions?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, any other comments from the group? So what we're doing is we're going to try to make this a pointed line instead of an angled line. So under properties, and it's selected, you can see the dots. There's this. Oh, there's only the rounded one, which you already have. Go ahead and click on that other cap just so you can see it. Click that cap. You see the difference? I must have been thinking, well, can you scroll down? Is there more? That's it. There are miters too, which are a little bit different too. Just the way that things bend will be different. I think probably the round is pretty good for this. I must be thinking about Illustrator that has that kind of pencil-ish edge to it. So, okay, it looks great, Elliot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'll clear my drawings. I guess they clear when I stop anyways, so. Elliot, it looks great. We talked about how the face looks awesome and you can use shapes for the eyebrows if you want to instead of just a line. Okay, so moving forward, Dan, let's see, this is your, ooh, wow. That's a lot of color. That's fantastic. These are backs. So the backs, you know, we are dealing with a lot of color. So keep that in mind moving forward. I mean, everybody right now is pretty much in the line work, but Dan, tell us what you're doing. Where are you at?
Well, I've made what was like layer masks out of my little symbols that I used there, and I used the symbols that were in the library. I did a technique that the Mrs. Bonner showed us a little while ago. Well, just now, what she did with Sean there, showing the library and where to get them in there, and then she taught me like a quick and easy technique of like putting the lines around them real quick. So I did that, and then I did a whole bunch of layer mask finagling, and I got to some of my benchmarks. I just put them in there real quick so I could just, generally get an idea of what's going on. So what's in there right now is not going to stay in there, but I'm going to put in my own line, my own stuff, and yeah.
The tool that he's talking about is it's usually underneath the paint bucket. And if you don't see it, it's living here. But it's called the ink bottle tool, I think. And it puts the line around the shape. So that's something to look for instead of redrawing all those lines. Yeah, that looks fantastic. Really good job there, Dan. And this pattern is so beautiful right now. What are your thoughts on the way it's coming along, Shiley?
I think it looks great so far. Although the eye, at least at the moment, it's kind of hard to read.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a suggestion for how to solve that, Shiley?
Well, I think it might change when Dan puts his own touch to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have nothing right off the top of my head besides maybe changing the color.
Yeah, I have some ideas, and they're going to be a really good technical tutorial. I'd like to show everybody how to use advanced layer styles to take something that already exists. Like, see how he's got this heart, and then he's got this heart and this heart. It would be good if like this one's the brightest one, and then this one goes back in space a little bit, and this one goes back in space a little bit, without him having to paint each one individually. So what we can do is we can use what's called filters to push back the colors in space. So Dan, if you could share your screen, I'll show everybody how to use advanced layer styles. And I want everybody to have your own Adobe Animate open too, because I want everybody to use the advanced layer style. I want you to see how to get to it. So I'll stop sharing, and Dan, if you can share your screen, I'll show you how to do this. Okay, beautiful. So go to one of those layers that has the heart on it. Go to one of the hearts. Are they all on one layer? Can you turn it off so that we can understand your file?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, let's go to this one. So if you click on that, that's a symbol, right? Nice.
Yes.
So if we, and then each one of these is their own symbol, right? Good.
I think they're
Okay.
all the same symbol, just repeated.
Correct, but here's the deal. This is where it's a little bit confusing with symbols. Let me make sure that I'm recording this again. So the first one that you have, I'm going to say this is 1, and then you have 2, and then you have 3. They're all the same symbols. It says one symbol. It's a heart. But these are called instances of a symbol. Okay, so that's what gets a little bit interesting. We want the second one to go a little bit darker, and then we want the third one to go quite a bit darker, or just more red, if red's going to be your background color. So that, in order to do that, we're going to check out a few things. Can you go to your library? And is this named heart? Is that what you have it called?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then so it's inside of there. Cool. Can you double click on that heart? Yep. And then, so do you have, okay, I see. So what he's got is, he's got the heart shape, and he did the mask, and it's great you followed the demo because I wasn't able to finish it with you in class. So you must have followed the video demo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Was that, did it work?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Good. So there's video demos of how to do this masking on the website. So check that out if you need to do something like this. So what I want to do now, Dan, is we're actually, so we've just studied the symbol. We understood what that texture inside of the heart is, and we were using masking for that. So now I understand what the symbol is. So we're actually going to do what I talked about out here in the main timeline. So come back to the main timeline. Good. And everybody go up to File. Hold on that. I think it's actually Animate. Click on Animate. Preferences. Go to Preferences and Edit Preferences. Okay, this is where we want to have advanced layers on. Go to Drawing, I think. Go to Text. Trying to find it. General. You know, I only do this every once in a while, and it's one of those preferences that are a little bit hard to find. And I'm not finding it. So let me give me a second. Okay. So Dan, instead of in those preferences, you're going to go ahead and cancel this. It's a little bit easier to get to. Go to Modify. Everybody go to Modify and to Document and use Advanced Layers. And that's what we want to have checked. And don't click anything yet. Let's read this so we understand. This turns your layers into symbols and is required for features such as camera, layer depth, layer effects, layer parenting, converting layers and symbols may affect your script. So let's talk about what script is. That's going to be something for interactive. It's possible that interactive stuff doesn't want to use this, but most of the time for animation and imaging, this is good. And it's also in the newest version. If you don't have this, you might want to do an update. So go ahead and click on Turn On Advanced Layers. Great, and so you see that that's checked, and then say okay. Did everybody do that on their machine too? Okay, fantastic. So that's something that we want.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
So like if Like I do have the interactive class. Is that something I'm going to have to turn off before I have Chris's class?
Ask Chris Brown, but so just tell him I'm in Bonner's digital imaging too, and we're using advanced layers. Do you want them turned off? Each project that you're working on, you can turn them on and on. But you're going to really see the benefit of what we're doing with it with imaging. So he might say that there's not a problem with it in your script file, but just really make a note, Sean, that you're doing that. Okay. Okay. So now click on the second heart. Okay. You can see it's a symbol. It's got the box around it. Now you're going to go to properties and color effects. Do you all see this little double circle that it's making, or is it just my machine? Like when I draw, it's making 2 lines.
No.
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so color effects, you're going to click on the word where it says none, and you're going to change it to advanced. You can choose any of these, but I like to start with the advanced. And let's just take the green this way, take the blue this way. So do you see it changing its color? And you can also take the alpha down. So it's the same symbol, it's just been affected with its color. And that can be pretty effective because now we can push and pull the space. So what I would recommend is to have this first heart be really intense in its intensity, and then go down in intensity, and then down and down and down, so that you kind of have some space. Dan, do you think that will work for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I like
so,
it.
Yeah, so you can see you affected what is called the instance of a symbol, but you didn't affect the symbol. Like if we were to go back into the main symbol, it would not have that darker look to it. It will still just be that one layer with the 3 layers of masking. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Cool.
So that would be my recommendation. I think that when Erica was talking about your piece, we need some sort of level of adjustment on the thing to kind of have hierarchy. So one thing being the most important, which I think is going to be your eye, and then you're going to kind of go down from there. So you can do this with all of your symbols. Also, one other thing I want to show you is things like outer glow.
Yeah, I was just going to say, does it have special effects?
Yeah, outer glow, stroke, things like that. Okay, so let's do it for this heart again. So click on that top heart. I think you might have. That seems like you might need to lock a bunch of layers and then try to find just the layer that you need.
Wait, I think what this is, I think I've made this all like one big symbol made out of a bunch of symbols.
Oh, that's central. Yeah. Is it? So you have this heart and this in it. So then you need to double click into it.
All right.
Okay. And then see, there's you called that layer 1, but you might want to call it, they're called indexes. No, they're called suits. Okay. That's what I would name that. I'm going to clear this. Now, so now when you click on this heart, is that just one symbol? Yep, good. Okay, the next thing that you would do is, I mean, you have color effects and all of that, but we want to adjust, I gotta move this chat window. Click off. I gotta answer there. Click off the screen. Now click on it one more time. This can be tricky. You have to find the right kind of click. Looking, see, we're not getting. Take this graphic and hit the arrow and turn it to movie clip, because I think you might have to make a movie clip to get this. Yep, now you have the filters. So now you're learning the difference between graphic, clip, which you can do those advanced layer styles that we just did, right? And movie clip, which you can do filters and the layer style. So movie clip is a better approach, but we always want to start with it being a graphic with the symbol use, okay? So you got filters up, go ahead and click that plus button. Okay, and I think we want to try having a glow around it because you got kind of a dark background, so hit glow. And it always, for some reason, chooses this weird red. I think it's because it wants to find it. So go ahead and click on that red and choose like a color that makes sense to you. That we can see on that, yep. And then, so right now, we hardly see it. So you need to up the number of this blur. So it's 4 right now. You can scrub it by arrowing it over. Yeah. So you're starting to see it come in. So the bigger that blur number is, the bigger the glow is going to be. You see how that functions, everybody? I'll clear my drawings. And if you click off, then you're going to not see it with the box around it. Okay. And so that can help the look of where you're headed, okay?
All right. Yeah.
And you can play around with all the other things. There's even there's like the angle of the glow to get it at a different kind of, you can push it to more like that side or just right under it if it's even or whatever. So and
So sorry.
Go ahead.
Those designs were just added to the library and then you brought them in and now you're gonna draw over those?
Well, that was a texture that he brought in that he
okay.
Do you remember that, seeing what that looked like in the masking layer part, Sean?
Yep.
Okay, and there's demos on the site if you want to do something like that.
Okay, cool.
Are you suggesting that he do something else with the textures?
No, I think they're great.
Cool. All right, Dan, any other questions that we can help you with today?
Nope.
Okay, awesome, thank you. So let's see the next, put you into a breakout room, okay?